All the women in my office were reading it and telling me that I should do the same, and that it would make it was the basis for a daytime talk show. That women, are obviously always interested to know how they should act and behave around men, and so we arranged a meeting with Steve and started talking to him about the process of doing a show. And then over the course of a couple of years, it came to fruition, and here we are with the show.
To be honest, in the beginning, I wasn't thinking daytime at all. I was thinking late night. But after I met with David and Endemol, and time evolved over the few years that we had started talking about it, I just changed as a person, and I became more, a lot more family oriented, and a lot more understanding of what my real position and role is in terms of, not just being funny, but, having some type of impact. And I think that we began to talk about it, how impactful daytime television could be, or is in some cases. So, we just started talking, and then daytime started to be a better fit, especially after, like David said, after the success of the book and all. It became pretty apparent that it was a void missing in daytime. So I said, hey, why not? Endemol is a great company. It really is because of David. I just like this guy right here. He was a straight shooter, so. First of all, I've been a stand-up for 28 years. And that's, it's like we have a tree here. The trunk of my tree is comedy. The branches can be anything, radio, television, a movie, a book, whatever the case may be. But the trunk is comedy. I've always used it. Even in teaching my kids, I use comedy. So it's not such a parent-son, parent-child relationship where I'm just beating them with information. I've always used comedy to help me in a lot of arenas. So we got in the daytime, here came this space where there wasn't a lot of people laughing on television in the daytime. There wasn't a clear male perspective in daytime. And, there wasn't anybody on TV during daytime that I saw talking about family that really could relate, who had children, who had a wife, who had made some mistakes and was willing to talk about it, who had been homeless for a number of years and kind of made something out of themselves. That whole combination. So when I'm dishing out this advice, medicine is easy to take if it tastes good. When we were kids, medicine was just one flavor. All of our medicine tastes like medicine. That's why it was so hard to get a kid to take it. Well, thank God, Tri-Minute comes along and it makes it in bubble gum and raspberry and grape. And so I figured, I said, well, since we're going to be talking to women about a serious subject like relationships or whether it's parenting, or I think the humor makes the medicine taste better.
I think one of the things that attracted us to Steve so much was also the fact that Endemol really doesn't like to be the follower. We like to do things that are sort of setting the agenda, or setting the trend, or doing things that are different. And when you looked at daytime talk shows, which frankly was a business we were not in, it was either celebrity-driven or it was single-topic conflict. And so what was so perfect about Steve is that he's so multi-talented, he could do so many different things, so he could make a multi-topic show. His whole point of view at that point in time was giving advice about everyday issues that were relatable, but nobody, and there are other people who could do that, but nobody could do that and bring humor to it at the same time. So it really was, it was a unique brand. And also, because that day part is so cluttered, you need somebody with a point of view. Really, somebody that has something to say, but also Steve brings with him a huge built-in audience. So he had the millions of people that had read the books. He had the millions of people that were listening to the radio show. People knew him from his days as a sitcom star. So it was just like the perfect storm.
My executive producer, Alex Duda, and Rashawn McDonald, these guys do a fabulous job of finding the topics. It's a lot easier to find when you're dealing with everyday people. You know, celebrities cancel. They can't make it. They have other things to do. Regular people, they're coming. You know, they're here for the show. I'm going to be on TV, and they show up. And it's tons of stuff. We can't run out of subject matter because we're talking to the masses. And I think it's the producers, the executive producer, Alex Duda, that does such a fabulous job of putting the material in front of me. You know, it's my job to hit it, but they got to go and put the balls into play. You know, they got to give it. And so I have to give a lot of credit to them. Really, to have a sense of humor and approach some of these subjects, like what makes even our food tasting segment so great is I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to tell you I like it if I don't. And my face pretty much tells the story in my life. I've always been that way. My wife tells me all the time, Steve, you got to work on your face because it tells the story. I can't help it. It's automatic. If I don't like something, it registers.
Yeah, I think the multi-topic is sort of a blessing because you can never exhaust, you know, content or topics. And this man can find something funny or something useful or something relatable to talk about anything, even if it's bacon. You know, so a lot of these other shows who are dependent upon celebrities, they kind of go up and down based on their bookings. So if they're able to get sort of somebody that's very much in the zeitgeist or somebody that's hot at the moment, you know, they'll see their ratings take a spike. But when they don't have that, what do they have? There's nothing really to talk about. And conversely, you have these single topic talk shows which, you know, that are really driven by conflict. If you don't like that subject, or if it's not working that day, you're kind of in trouble. Whereas, you know, Steve just moves from one thing to the next. If it's, you know, if that exercise bit isn't your thing, well, then you're going to get a piece about bacon. If that thing about bacon isn't right, you're going to find out how to, you know, hold on to your man. If you don't care about holding on to man, you might figure out how to hold on to your woman. I mean, it's just there's anything that's out there that, you know, we'll tackle it.
Here's the thing, I don't care who you are, where you're from, where you live, what you do, what your belief is. Humor is international. Who do you know that doesn't want to laugh? I know two people, but they're very sad people. They work at a funeral home and it's not a very funny business. But other than that, most people I know want to laugh and smile and have a good time. Most people are interested in improving their life. Most people don't mind being inspired, motivated, or uplifted. Most people want to be around positive people. Well, that's at the core of who I am. And anywhere in the world, that's going to be the case for most people. Everybody's looking for a way to do it better, to be better, to get better, to have more. Everybody wants their children to have a better way of life than the one they had. Everybody wants to make a relationship work with somebody. And so this show right here tackles all of those things in a motivational, inspiring, uplifting, and a humorous way.
I mean, the things that we deal with on the show are universal. You know, that's the whole point of it. It's not just relatable to people in Florida, it's not relatable just to people in New York, it's relatable to people all over the country, and therefore it's relatable to people all over the world. I mean, people want to know, okay, what fashion should I be wearing this spring? How do I keep the children out of the bed so that we can actually have a better relationship? You know, I mean, it's just, you know, how do I deal with a kid that won't stop texting? I mean, so nothing that we will address on the show isn't something that somebody in another country isn't probably dealing with in the same way. Our whole goal is just to become as diversified as we possibly can. We didn't necessarily say, well, we want to get into the syndication market. We happened to just find a great comedian, a great talent in Steve Harvey, and as we looked at what his capabilities are and where there was a need in the marketplace, it was a daytime talk show, and that's where we went. You know, and thank God we did, because it has placed us into a different genre, a different segment, place we haven't been, and we'll probably try to do more of those. But it's really all comes down to finding great ideas, great talent, and then just figuring out where best to place them.